Tide Talk with Webb is back. What's going on, Dan? So let's break
Hey,
it down. What do you think of
roll,
the Iron Bowl?
roll
Roll Tide.
Tide.
What do you think of the Iron Bowl?
Oh goodness, it was hard to watch. We did not play our best. They were running all over us. Um, I don't think it was lack of motivation. I think they were just playing out of their minds. Auburn was. It's probably the best they have played all year. We didn't play great. Um, but if we hadn't had Milrow, I mean, he was the difference in the game. He has been coming on strong since midway through the season. Even after he was benched, he's just been getting a little better and better. And our offensive line has looked better, especially the last 4 weeks. They have gotten a lot better. So he didn't get sacked a lot and have a lot of pressures. But when he did get pressured, he turned him into some positive plays. And I think that the two turnovers were just very important in the outcome of the game.
Yeah, he played great. I mean, in my opinion, yes. Early on, he threw that pass that was past the line of scrimmage, was kind of boneheaded. He just didn't realize where he was at, and that's he's still a young quarterback. The call where Ty Law ran around the left hand side of an end around and got a touchdown. That was that same ref. I don't even know his name. He had that massive nose. That was a garbage call, and so was the call on Burton. But overall, I thought that Milrow played a great game, minus some minor mistakes. The thing that got me was some of the plays Tommy Reese was calling. It's kind of like Milrow's a little afraid to run he had everybody was way back downfield. And I thought, there was a few times it was like, man, you should have ran. Like, you could have easily got the first down. And I noticed that Tommy Reese was not designing many run plays. It was kind of odd because we have been trying that out. Like I said, there was definitely the refs I thought played a little bit into it because they called 14 points off the board for us. And I will say that that Reichard, he struggled too, which was very odd for him. I
think he was after the record. He is now tied with the all-time NCAA collegiate scoring record, and I think that pressure just was getting to him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it may have, like I said, and it's one of those deals too. Like, Milrow, like said, I kind of called it. I had told a friend I was worried about the Iron Bowl, and he's like, "Why?" And I was like, "Well, I thought it'd be kind of close, and the only reason I thought it'd be close was I thought that Auburn apparently is built on top of an ancient Indian burial ground or a pet cemetery or something like that, because it seems like every time we get in games like that, that doesn't turn out that way for us. And like I said, we wouldn't even be sitting here laughing about it if it wasn't for that muff punt and if it wasn't for a 4th and 31. And granted, it was way closer, but that snapper jacked it up, And like I said, hats off to Bond, hats off to Milrow, but and great win. I think the thing too that kind of got me was I just felt too that the defense got gutted, and it was just like some of the plays, they were running the same play at the same gap, and I didn't understand this. I looked at some game film again, and I noticed that we're not rotating 3 linebackers like we were all year, 3 to 6 linebackers. And we had Trez Marshall in there, and he's not, I hate to say it, he's not an every down linebacker. And they were manning up on him and mowing him down. And sometimes he wasn't even in the right gap. And it was frustrating because you knew, and some of the things Kevin Steele was doing, I didn't understand. Like, you've got, they can't throw. We know that. They can't throw past 10, 15 yards. And we're not running a man front. We're not running a 5-2. We're not running anything that will stop the run, and it's just wide open. And I'm like, what's going on? Like they weren't bringing the safeties down. It was a little, and the thing that I didn't get either is Kevin Steele this year has been good about changing at halftime. They didn't change up anything on defense, and it was a little frustrating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I understand. Like I was telling the friend, we know their quarterback, the Auburn quarterback, is not going to beat us. So why not just go ahead and put 8 in the box and make that quarterback throw? And they didn't do that. And I wondered where our linebackers were. Good grief. The plays that I really yeah, the plays that I really noticed when it was just 1-on-1 blocking our linebacker, they weren't even double teaming them. So our linebackers probably had their worst game of the year, because they had almost 200 yards of rushing on us in the first half. And so I thought, well, surely they'll come out and put 8 in the box. Nope, I didn't understand that.
I didn't understand that either, knowing he can't really beat you over the top. Like Peyton Thorne cannot beat you over the top. He's shaky at best. He likes to bounce balls that are over 15 yards. I didn't get it. I mean, yeah, we know that the whole mantra of Auburn is just beat Bama, and all their practice rooms historically in Auburn is an 8-4 type of team. They've only had, the last time they had two 10-win seasons back to back was in the late 80s or early 90s. I mean, it's been like 30 something years. But it's just, I don't know. I just didn't understand why you didn't change it up. Like, hey, if we know they can't throw, I'm loading the box. Like I'm not having them, and I'm getting a spy on Thorne. I'm not having them beat us just by running. There's one drive they never even threw, never even passed.
Yeah,
and it was
went right down the field. Mm-hmm. Yeah. One thing I noticed, that besides the refs being so bad, everybody that I talked to said it was horrible, even on both sides. Plays really that we got away with, plays that they got away with. But yeah, those 2 touchdown callbacks, those phantom flags, that was frustrating to watch. But one thing I did notice on that final drive, when Milroe cut loose and he was down near the left sideline, and he was going for the first down, and he crashed into that defensive back that was he was wearing jersey number 1. Put that guy out of the game. That was their left cornerback.
Their best.
And if you'll notice from there on out, defensive back. After that, it was number 4 that took his place. And so I think Milroe remembered that, and so he was throwing against a backup. So it was a smart thing to do.
Well, I will say this, and that I know I saw Daniel Moore the other day, yesterday. It is going to be a painting. It's going to be called the Miracle on the Plains or whatever. And the interesting thing about that was, from what I've read, it really wasn't a design play. Like the other 2 right side receivers cut off, and Bond was supposed to go take a right too, and he did. And Milroe was waving his arm over. They played street ball basically, and he just chunked it in the corner where one of them was going to get it. And yeah, it was. Now, did you see any of the fan reaction videos, like where all these people are recording it because they think they're going to win, and they're like
that was extra sweet. Looking at those Auburn tears, they thought they had it in a bag, and that was quite a surprise. I jumped off the couch. I couldn't believe it. I heard it called a disaster in the pasture.
I've heard that.
Milroe magic. 4th and 31. Highway 431, it goes to Auburn. And so all the Auburn fans are going to remember that forever, because it's Highway 431, because it was 4th and 31. So I thought that was just icing on the cake.
I think the most savage was this guy. I guess he was walking out of the stadium, and people are throwing away like toilet paper rolls and stuff. And he's, excuse my language, but he's, you sorry ass mother. Mother Blankers, haha, you lost. Eat it. Kick six, kick six. He's going on and going on and going on, and it was pretty funny. But yeah, yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think when you look at the top 25, especially the top four, you got Georgia, Michigan at 2, Washington at 3, and the Cinnamon Rolls at 4. Yeah, unless we have a miracle, I don't know if we get in. We got to beat Georgia, but Georgia's gonna be a tough team. They can do it all. They're 2 or 4 dimensional. They can do everything. They don't have a running quarterback. But that's going to be a tough game. We'll have to be on all cylinders, no mistakes, and defense has got to come up massive. I don't know how I feel about that game. I don't feel super confident, because it's a tough game.
Yeah, and Bowers is going to be back. He's one of the best players in the country. He's at least a top 10 draft pick. Nobody has been able to cover the guy in 12 games this year. And he didn't play last week. They just rested his ankle up. I don't know what our plan is to defend him, but and I'm sure Georgia watched the game. They're going to run. They're going to try to run on us.
Oh, on that left side of the line or our right, that's exactly what they're looking at. Now, I will say some of the game plan, and we have a better defense that Missouri used against them, I think is really good. They disrupted the quarterback. They were able to cover for majority of the game. Like I said, we're gonna have to be able to get Milroe running. We're gonna have to get those safeties thinking twice about coming up on the line. Our defense is gonna have to play really, really good, like probably their best performance of the year. But even then, what we're seeing in this playoff committee. Now, check me if I'm wrong. Ohio State, are they still top 4, or am I getting this wrong?
No. Okay. No, they dropped.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. Well, Michigan's not going to lose. Washington, I would be shocked if they lose. I don't think they're going to lose. And Florida State more than likely won't lose. So if we can't beat Georgia and at least have one of the top 3 lose, we may not be in it. And in this group that's doing the college football committee, I don't see what they're looking at when they see teams like Florida State still top. Or I'm sorry, Oregon should be jumping Florida State. I don't get it. I get it. I get it that Oregon lost to Washington, but it was a close game. It was a nail biter. Florida State hasn't played anybody. I don't know. Maybe there'll be some chaos next weekend and we'll get a chance to get in, but it definitely looks pretty tough.
Yeah, there's several miracles got to happen. Washington will have to beat Oregon for the second time this season. Florida State, they need to lose because I don't know if the playoff committee is going to ignore an undefeated ACC champion. And I think another team has got to go down. Oregon's got to lose because they're ahead of us. We're still at 8, 7.
We're at 8.
We're at 8. So that means we got to jump a bunch of people. So Oregon has got to lose. It would be wonderful if Florida State would lose to Louisville in the ACC championship game. But for some reason, they love Oregon and they're letting them, hang around. But and we've got to beat Georgia, so we've got 3 miracles that need to happen this weekend. And Friday night, that's going to be the Pac-12 championship. That'll be Washington and Oregon, version number 2. So we'll know about that one, and then we'll find out about the other ones on Saturday.
Well, the crazy thing is, even if we barely beat Georgia, we could still wind up not even being in it. We could still have a chance to not be in it. If everything goes as planned, like let's say Michigan wins, Washington wins, Florida State wins, and we barely beat Georgia, we may be out in the cold and Georgia may still be in it.
Yeah. Or what if those other miracles happen and we only beat Georgia, by a field goal on the last play of the game? Is a committee going to kick Georgia out of the top 4?
I think they should, but will it happen? And that's the biggest thing, because this whatever group of nerds they have in there, it just, I feel like they're not even watching the games, and it's, they still got Texas hanging around. Texas can barely beat anybody at this point in the year, and somehow they're still ahead of us.
Yeah, well, you got to look at it. It's driven by money. So what they want a team from the Big Ten. They got that in Michigan. They want a
Yep.
team from the left coast, and that'll
Pac-12.
probably be Washington or Oregon. They want somebody from the southeast, which will be Georgia or Alabama, and if Texas wins, then they got the Southwest. So it's about TV coverage and about money. We got to remember that. That's what they want. They don't want two teams from the same conference. They don't want three teams at the same conference. They want to spread the love and get more TV sets turned on and sell more ads and make more money.
Oh yeah, and it'll be harder next year, because next year with an 8 or a 12 team playoff, you may have three or four of those teams be SEC at the end of the year. You don't know, and so
yeah,
it'll be harder when which I think expanding the playoffs is probably a better idea, because all this keeping teams, well, you had an early season loss, and no, we got to keep, and I don't think you'll be able to do that come next year.
Well, we've got Texas got their number one starter back. He's back from injury, but that's not going to help Florida State when they play Louisville. It would not surprise me at all if Louisville beats FSU with the backup quarterback. It wouldn't surprise me at all. We'll just have to wait on to see if Washington can win twice in a row over Oregon, because that is so key. Because the committee, they want one of those in. And so they would have the Pac-12 champion, the Big Ten champion, the SEC champion, unless Bama, throws a monkey wrench in, and maybe Texas.
Well, you've got another.
We'll just see.
If you think about it, if Oregon wins, then what do you do?
Yeah.
And say it's a 1 point differential or 2 point, 3 point or less into the game. I mean, they're going to take one of them, but what do you do? Obviously you probably have to take Oregon second go around, but and then say Florida State loses, do you keep Oregon and Washington? There's a whole bunch of scenarios that could go really left depending on how it all shakes out. But
because what the only undefeateds are Michigan and Washington. Then you got about 6 one-loss teams that are pretty good. But because Texas beat us, the second week of the season, I think they're holding that against us. And if we had maybe have dominated the Irown Bowl, that would have been in our favor. But, since we won on a miracle throw, that really didn't help us move up. That's why they kept us where we are.
Yeah, it definitely didn't help with voters at all. But like I said, there's nothing you can do about that. I mean, then again, how can you say that when Texas is barely hanging on to win games against nobodies, a bunch of them? Michigan played nobody until Ohio State and dumped them. Neither of those teams played anybody, but yet they still were hanging on. They got challenged from a few teams that aren't even top 25, didn't have winning records. So, yeah, I mean, the bottom line is just money, and they want everybody represented. But yeah,
everybody gets the trophy.
Yeah. So, I mean, like I said, if Bama, I'll be honest, if Bama doesn't beat Georgia, you might as well go ahead and pencil in Georgia for a third national championship in a row.
Absolutely. Yep.
They'll be the
first team to three-peat.
Florida State sure as hell is not going to challenge them. The only one in that top 4 that could, at most, would be Washington with Michael Penix. That's it.
Well, since Ohio State, they've only got the one loss, and it was close to Michigan. They're sitting at home this week. So they aren't going to play. So I don't think they are going to move up. I don't think they're going to be in the conversation for being in the top 4. So that's good for us. But we've got to beat Georgia just because there's no other way. We've got to do our part and hope that the other dominoes fall in our favor.
We would need to beat them and at least have at least one domino fall. I mean, I just don't think. Yeah, yeah. We have to have the dominoes fall, and we have to beat Georgia. And it's going to be tough. Either way, though, I can honestly say I'm so proud of this Bama team. I mean, they don't have a first-round NFL receiver. They don't have a first-round NFL. Well, offensive line they have one or two, but they don't have a first-round NFL running back.
No, no.
I'm so proud of this team. I can't tell you. And even if we lose Saturday, I don't care. I mean, I'm so proud of this Bama team, what they've accomplished and where they've come from, South Florida all the way to now. I mean, and going into next year, in a few weeks, if those two top receivers, the 1 and 2 receiver in the country, sign with us, I mean, like next year, Milroe's going to be dangerous.
Yeah, and all of these young high school receivers probably watched that game, and they saw Milroe. They know he can chunk it 60 yards. I mean, that would be very enticing to a young receiver, knowing that, they could catch balls from a Heisman candidate next year. And then the guys that are coming up, I mean, you got a couple of 5-stars in there. So if I was a receiver, I would definitely look at Alabama. Because our quarterback room is going to be wicked next year.
And you got the advent of Nyblack coming on. Nyblack is scary good. Scary good. When he's in space, yeah, he's very good.
Yeah, he may be our Brock Bowers that we need on Saturday.
Yeah, I think keys for the game, honestly, for me, just looking at it, I think you're going to have to go no huddle, fast as we can go. Everything, RPOs, let Milroe make the reads, whether he wants to pass or throw. The running backs are coming on really good right now. They're blocking very, very well in pass coverage. I just say spread everybody out. I say make Georgia go as fast as they can go. Now, Georgia's on the opposite hand. They're going to try to, run the ball, run it down our throat, get us wore out. We're going to have to play very balanced defense, and it's going to be a dogfight. It's going to be, bring 2 chin straps and 3 lunch pails because it's going to be a tough game. It's going to be an old school game. But yeah, it's going to be tough. If I'm Tommy Rees, I'm game planning very similar to the way Missouri played them, and I'm coming out there and swinging from the fences because we ain't got nothing to lose. And
yeah.
Oops.
Yeah, I think that the RPO is going to be very, very important. If Milroe can have a game like he had against LSU, he'll drop back and maybe count to 1,000 and then take off. If nobody's open, take off. He'll get 10 yards a carry anyway, so we can keep the chains moving and just play keep away from Georgia. Don't even let their offense on the field. So if we can control the clock, control chain moving, have some long drives. But Milroe's going to have to be Superman on Saturday.
Yeah, and honestly, the defense is really going to have to play that way too. There's just no way around it. I mean, both sides of the ball have to play perfect.
Yeah. If I'm Georgia's offensive coordinator, I'm going to be running on Alabama's right side of their defensive line. I mean, that's where I would go. Because Auburn is no near where as talented as Georgia on the offensive line. So, their offensive coordinator is going to just keep looking at that film and say, well, look, if Auburn can do it, why can't we? So, and I hope our linebackers are going to be prepared.
Yeah, they're going to play a big game. The thing is, too, we got to get in that quarterback's face. We're going to have to get some pressure. We're going to have to get some sacks. That's super, super crucial. We're in for a dogfight. And, and obviously we're probably the best defense Georgia's going to play all year. So they're in for a dogfight as well. Yeah. So we just got to go out there and lay the cards on the table and see how they fall.
Yep, I can't wait.
Yeah, I can't either. I'll be working, but I'll have to call you during the halftime and see what's going on. But well, anyway, that'll work, and we will we'll do another podcast on what's today? Probably Saturday night after the game.
Sounds good.
All right, see you then.
All right, roll tide.
No time. Bye.
Bye.